Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are actually looking up, literally.
Yeah, literally looking up at the ceiling.
Right. We are digging into the engineering behind ceiling speakers, specifically the Kramer JLL 4CW. And before you tune out thinking, it's just a speaker, hold on.
Yeah, do not tune out just yet.
Because we have source material today from HDTV Supply, and they've been in the AV game for 25 years. So what stands out here isn't just that this thing plays music.
No, it is that this specific unit bridges a massive gap.
A huge gap, yeah, between high-end home audio and those complex, really regulation-heavy commercial systems.
It really is a hybrid. I mean, on the surface, it's a 4-inch two-way closed-back speaker. But when you look under the hood, it solves a very specific set of installation headaches.
Tackling everything from signal degradation to, well, fire safety.
Exactly.
And the biggest piece of that puzzle seems to be the power handling. The specs really highlight this multi-tap power transformer, which in a home theater, you usually just wire a speaker directly to an amp and call it a day.
Right, you just plug it in.
But that does not work when you are wiring an entire shopping mall, does it?
Not at all. And that's the core difference. This speaker actually has a split personality. You have the low Z, or 8 ohms setting, which is exactly what you'd use at home.
Bypassing the transformer entirely.
Right, for high fidelity over short distances. It's kind of like using a fire hose connected directly to a hydrant. Lots of pressure, great flow, but you cannot run that hose for a mile.
Because of the resistance, yeah, you would lose all the signal.
So for a commercial building, where you might be daisy-chaining 50 speakers down a really long hallway, you switch over to the 70-volt or 100-volt setting.
So the transformer steps in to act like a pressurized water main.
Exactly, pushing the signal huge distances without losing power or overheating the amplifier.
And what I found fascinating in the datasheets is that it is not just a simple on-off switch. You have these taps on the transformer.
The 30 watts, 15, 7.5, 3.7, and off.
Yeah, it seems like a way to physically mix the volume right at the speaker level.
That is the killer feature for installers. Just imagine you have one single amplifier running a whole restaurant. You want the speakers in the noisy bar area tapping the full 30 watts.
But in the restrooms or a quiet hallway, 30 watts would be way too aggressive.
Way too loud. So on the exact same wire run, you just tap those specific speakers down to 3.7 watts.
Giving you consistent coverage without needing separate amplifiers for every single zone.
Exactly.
That makes perfect sense. It's basically analog volume control hardwired right into the ceiling. Now, speaking of the ceiling, we have to talk about the physical design here. The CW in the name stands for closed back.
Right, it has a heavy-duty metal can on the rear.
And I know audiophiles really like sealed enclosures for tighter bass, but in this context, I feel like it is about more than just sound quality.
You are like to be suspicious. While the metal can does prevent sound from leaking into the floor above you, its primary job here is safety. The source material heavily emphasizes the UL 2043 approval.
That is the plenum rating, right?
Correct. In a lot of commercial buildings, the space above the drop ceiling is used as part of the HVAC system to return air.
Oh, wow. So if a fire breaks out, you definitely do not want your plastic speakers melting.
And releasing toxic fumes directly into the building's air supply.
That is a terrifying thought, literally poisoning the ventilation system.
It is, which is why that metal back can is strictly non-negotiable in those environments. It contains all the electronics and ensures the speaker doesn't become a hazard.
It also carries the UL 1480 rating for fire signaling, meaning these are tough enough to be part of the emergency alarm system.
Built like a tank with that ABS bezel and aluminum grille. Safe and compliant.
But at the end of the day, we still actually need to listen to it. It is a two-way system with a 4-inch polypropylene woofer and a 1/2-inch Mylar tweeter. Why Mylar?
Mylar is a fantastic choice here because it is incredibly lightweight, but more importantly, it is resistant to humidity.
So if you install these in a gym locker room or an outdoor overhang, a standard paper cone would just rot.
Yeah, Mylar handles the moisture without degrading those high frequencies at all.
And looking at the frequency response, it covers 85 hertz to 20 kilohertz. It won't exactly rattle your chest with sub-bass.
No, but for voice paging and background music, that is exactly the range you need for pure clarity.
Plus, it has a 90-degree coverage angle.
Which is crucial. That wide dispersion means you don't need to pack the ceiling with a million speakers to avoid dead spots. You can space them out and still get perfectly even sound.
It really paints a picture of this JLO 4CW as a totally versatile workhorse. Flexible enough for a home theater with that 8-ohm bypass, but robust enough to sit in a high-regulation commercial plenum space.
And considering the price point mentioned, around $240 for a pair, it is a surprisingly accessible piece of pro engineering.
It definitely redefines what we expect from just background equipment.
It really does.
So, here is a thought to leave you with. Next time you walk into a store or an office, look up. Are those just speakers playing soft jazz, or are they part of a complex, voltage-regulated safety system that is actually keeping the air you breathe safe?
It completely changes how you see the ceiling, doesn't it?
It sure does. Thanks for listening to this deep dive, everyone. Catch you on the next one.